golden. Excellent. Everyone's looking good. Okay. Let's go cold tonight, you guys. It's just the heat of summer has just gotten to me, and I want to paint a winter scene. So let's paint an ice cold bluey winter scene. It's just going to be fantastic. It's always fantastic. Let's get out some of our crimson paint real quick, and I'll tell you the colors. We'll probably only stick to 4 or 5. It's going to be our titanium white, our midnight black, our alizarin crimson, phthalo blue, or Prussian blue, whichever one, or ultramarine blue if you've got the Gamblin set or the Meaden set. And then probably our dioxazine purple is all we're going to need, you guys. So I have a 20-inch by 24-inch canvas. I'm going to tell you exactly what I've done to it so far. You can see in each edge of the canvas, right, we've got this liquid white oil paint that is on our canvas. You want to have about that much of it in order to allow the paints to slide and blend, right? We always get the question, how do your paints work? What kind of paints are you using in order to get them to slide and blend like that? Well, they're oil paints in the wet on wet technique. Now let's take some of our phthalo blue or Prussian blueberries or ultramarine blueberries, and we'll pop them out here like this. And just pop in a little area, a little section of blue, right? We got a big old canvas on this guy. So we can have a big old section of blue, maybe underneath on this side. We pop in a little bit more. Just kind of let them work together, whatever. We're just going to create a big old cloudy area wherever we don't have our paints. Is going to help keep our clouds much brighter. Okay, we're going to go into a brand new color that I'm using for the very first time called Ivory Black by the Gamblin 1980 set. I ran out of my Bob Ross Black. Then I ran out of my Bob Ross Mountain Mix. And now we're on to the Ivory Black. So I don't know how black this is going to be because I've never used it before, right? But I'm going to judge based off of my eyeballs and say, okay, that's probably enough. And if I keep adding to it, it's only going to get darker and darker and darker, right? So let's wipe this off. And that's the Ivory Black from Gamblin 1980. Let's see, it looks just like this guy. I'll show you up close. Just like that guy. Gamblin 1980. Ivory Black. Now, we don't want to put on too much because it'll overtake all of our colors in our sky. So what I want to do is I want to wash my brush off. We go into our odorless mineral spirits. We then flick it into a trash can, kind of like you're whipping somebody with a towel. And then into the old beater bucket. There's many ways you can do a beater bucket. You can have a trash can with a wood doweling in between. You could put a rack or a dish drying thing at the bottom and beat the devil out of it that way. You do whatever you want to do to keep it however you like it, right? Now, when we go to blend the sky, where should we start, guys? And by the way, check in right now. Where are you watching from? What time is it where you are? Tell me. Just tell me now. Thanks, Mackie, for being here. You guys are awesome. I dig you. You're amazing. You are amazing. There. You just are amazing. Where would we start? We're in Texas, Kentucky. Right? We're going to start into our lightest area first, of course. Just mixing into that wet white canvas, right? The whole canvas is wet. So if we mix in, we get some of that bright white onto our brush, and then we can start getting out there into the blue. And we start a mixing and a pulling and crisscrossing and blending it down. Right? Each time that we blend it, it's going to mix in with the liquid white base coat that's on the canvas. So if I want to get my little blue ear over here, I'll just push on it. And you can see it's a lighter color here because we didn't add any paint to it. We left it bare, barren. Right? Now, out here into our black section, that's very dark black. So you know what we're going to do? This is why I wanted that purple. We're going to take our dioxazine purple and throw it right over that black, wherever you had it. And that way, you get a little bit of a purple blendy darkness. Okay? Now, you can see, the more we push on this, the more it grows and grows and grows and gets further and further and further. So, you have to be the judge on how much you want it to be. How far do you want it to grow down? How much darkness do you want to retain, or should you mix it so hard that all that darkness blends into brightness, right? It's all up to you. Every time you do it is another chance, you guys, to do it a little different, to try something else new. and say, ooh, I've never done one like this before, let's do this, right? Because when you finally lose the fear of making a mistake, quote unquote, and you replace that fear with curiosity, what's gonna happen if I do this? What's my painting gonna look like if I did that, right? Because there's always more than one canvas. We can go try it again. Our brush is getting too dark, too dirty to continue blending. So what do? We go shake it off into the can, into the old bucket, and just beat the bejesus out of it. All right, now, it's not a very good blend up here, not for old paint with Josh anyway, so what I'm gonna do is take and mix again, right? Getting all of our wetness off of our brush. You don't wanna have any paint thinner up there when you're going to do your blending. It's gonna make your canvas very wet, and that's not what we really want, not really wet anyway. Now, as you can see, the more you push on these colors, the more they'll slide and blend and grow. And then it's up to us. What do we want our sky to look like? Do we want to have a little area up there? A little darker over here, a little brighter over there. How you doing?
Is this where the candles are?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Come on in. I'm doing a live show right now.
Oh, the live show.
Yeah, I do painting classes and live shows and stuff. And that's how I keep the business open, is by selling all these paintings to thousands of people that are watching.
You know the praise me?
No, not me.
I got these one paintings on Monday, but she said they were working on it. There's some France.
Right. I would look up something local, but yeah, all of our candles are right here. And if you,
You got a bunch of little candles?
yeah, we don't do very big ones. The bigger you go, the harder they are to stay.
How much are they?
They're $15 each, $14.99. And they have the sprays and all that stuff as well. They last about 40 hours ish.
What's the best spray?
What's the best?
What is this spray?
This is our own brand, Glitterwings. Yeah, we make them by hand for them. Mix all the scents.
How much
together.
are they?
They're $14.99.
Can I get this like spray was smell?
No, and they're probably made with a bunch of paraffin. You shouldn't be burning anyway. It's kind of toxic. All the big store candles are like that. Ours are all natural.
What would my one feel?
Oh, we're gonna know. All right, you pay cash? Cool.
Yeah, he's right here.
One device I gotta use. And guys, give me 1 second on TikTok. I'll be back in just a second. We'll restart another stream. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we got bars that are all, what is that, handmade, all natural. And they use a lot of paraffin wax, which is something to keep your big box candles level, you know what I mean? And it's a toxic. You're not supposed to burn it. You know, when you burn that stuff, it releases.
Did you see that thing?
Right. Oh yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, and these you shouldn't get any soot or anything off of them because you burn them. Blow it out and put the light in. There's the back there. If you look at this guy, well, we can take it out of the bag now. Right, if you look at this, it's got a lot of residual junk on the end of the wick. You just break that guy off and you relight it, and now we don't get that black soot and smoke that comes off the candle. That way it burns nice and good.
So you got this?
Yeah.
Right. I can see.
I can see.
Who you started right now?
Yeah, where's the what's the number? Okay.
I went in the store, I want to get a bill. I hope I'm not at 30 yet, I think I'm at 30.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, it's just. I think nothing, couldn't even reach you with it. $17.
Jeez.
I'm gonna go, I don't have any receipt. So I tried to get it. I need to go.
Yeah.
Take it to buy, show somebody. I told her 36, that thing was a 30, 28 or something.
Right.
Well, then people are like, higher.
Measure on your arm, I guess.
They can't get it straight for you. Thanks.
All right, we'll see you later. Okay, guys. Sorry, we had a customer come in the store. Hold, please. We're going to restart the TikTok live right here. And boom, get it going. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Perfect. Now, where's my old paintbrush? Had a customer come in the store. You know, I gotta help the customers in the store. So, since we're out here, we blended out our sky. It looks all gorgeous and fantastic, right? We're gonna decide when we're done. And then we're gonna go grab a different brush. This time we're gonna grab a fan brush. The fan brush, we're gonna load it up with our white paint. You have to get a chunk, a ton of our white paint up there. And then aim for that lighter color area along the top of our darker shadowy spot. Right? Pop it into there. And just literally mush it, push it, spin it, back and forth. Try to get all the paint to come off of it and attach on to our canvas wherever you want it to be. Right? Just throw it out there. You want to have it bigger? Add more paint. Leave some spaces, some gaps in between, and it'll allow it to grow down. Okay? We can even come back with that big old monstrous 2-inch brush, because we're only using just the corner, just the top. See how the rest of the brush isn't even contacting the canvas? Just the littlest bit. Even doing clockwise, counterclockwise, holding it out here at the end with very little pressure. Right? If you're down here, you're going to be pushing too hard. Right? Get it out there. Just like you're mixing up some sauce in a little saucepan. Right? You're just mixing it, mixing it, mixing it, mixing it. Boom, boom, boom. Pushing a lot harder down at the bottom of the bowl, right? You got to mix that pancake mix up a lot harder down around the bottom of the bowl than you do at the top, because you don't want it to fly out into your kitchen, right? So you're deciding what it looks like each time that you go to do it. You make the decision. That's very cool. Now, why don't we come in here? We're going to grab our black. This is our ivory black from the Gamblin 1980 set. Double the amount of crimson, and then double the amount of blues. We've got the same amount of blue and the same amount of crimson, and then half the amount of black, right? We don't want to have too much black too far into the distance, and we flatten it all out on the black Paint with Josh palette. You can get these palettes if you go to paintwithjosh.com. I just put in an order for more palettes from Mr. Tim and Miss Erin over there. So, we'll be getting more palettes soon. I just shipped out 2 of them today, and I have an order for one that I'm waiting. So, if you put in an order and you're watching right now for a big clear plastic palette, we didn't have any in stock, but they are coming, and I'll get it in and get it out to you as quick as I can. So, let's see. Once we get out here, ooh, you know what? Let's not go too wild. And I say that every time I'm going to make a mountain, and then we go wild and crazy. Okay, so we're going to take our plaque mix, which is our blue, black, and crimson, all mixed together in a 2:1 ratio. We're going to pull it down very flat. In fact, why don't we introduce a little bit of our white paint in there as well. Just a little touch. We don't want it to be a bright color. All right, so in fact, we're going to get a little bit more of our plaque there. Mix it down. That way this is brighter than that, meaning that will stand out in front of this by the time that we get down there, right? So, tell me where you're watching from. Right now, from around the world, from around the country, where are you from? Type it in. I'm going to come back and read the comments. Let's see. Let's see. Bing, bang, boom. Watching from Michigan, Indiana, Minnesota, Ohio, Texas, Wales, Mordor, Kansas, upstate New York, Illinois, Idaho, Kentucky, New York. Let's see, Florida, man, they're coming in too fast. Florida, Georgia, Thailand, Philippines, Chicago, Florida, Louisiana, Arizona, an outhouse. Watching from Roanoke, Virginia. Let's see, Louisiana, got him. Now, let's get out here with our plaque mix that's been brightened up with a little touch of our white. We're going to scoop out a good roll of it. You can see that chunk out there. Now, like I was saying, let's not go too crazy tall on these mountains, because I want it to look like it's far away. And if my mountains, which they tend to do all the time, they get a little too close and too crazy, too close for comfort, there. Right? Make them nice and flat. Maybe it doesn't even need to have a round or a pointy top. Just a little flat, rounded little thing out there. And then we got a little hump over here. You can literally put it down however you want it to be. Right? We're in control, my friends, of what our scene looks like. Just keeps getting taller and taller and bigger and bigger and bigger. Come on, mountain. Oh, see what we did there? We didn't have enough paint on our knife. So when it came time to deposit it in the correct space, it was not there to deposit. Okay? Scrape up all this excess paint too. Watch this. I'm gonna try to remove every bit of paint that we're not gonna use. Okay? Scrape it, scrape it, scrape it, scrape it, scrape it. Look at that. That's an enormous amount of paint right there. A huge amount of it. Right? Hey, we can even drop it on and create more mountain, but we know that we don't want this mountain to be too big, right? So we're gonna come back in. Even with your big old 2-inch brush, you can do it. Get up in there and go slide it out, right? The more you slide and blend this little guy, the softer it will become. But we can't take every mountain and go in the same direction. So why don't we take this guy, drag it off horizontally, like that. Now you got one side going down this way, one side going down that way. What if back here we had this big old sheer old cliff, and then boom, came down and hit again, creating another little section of your mountain. Grab this one from up top, slide it out. How far is it gonna go? How big, how dark? All up to us. If we put some darkness in here, we slide it down towards our shadowy side, and we pull this guy off in the other direction, doesn't that all automatically start looking like a mountain over there? Right? Gorgeous. Just a little old floating old mountain out in the night. Now, we're gonna go back and highlight this guy. Winter is my most favoritist time of year to paint. So we're gonna take a little of our blue, we're gonna take a lot of our white, we're gonna mix them together. We want it to be kind of sky blue color, right? So if we held this thing up here, it should be about the same, pretty much. Doesn't have to be perfect. A little sky blue. Don't want it to be too dark because that's gonna bring it too close to us, right? And sure, don't get me wrong, it looks really cool if you have really deep, dark, vibrant shadows back here in your blue snow, but it's just gonna make it in our eyeballs be closer than it actually is. So don't do too much back there. Okay, let's wipe off, or don't do it too dark anyway. We're gonna wipe off our palette scrapey tool, right? You guys, you're gonna check in, you're gonna tell me where you're watching from. We're gonna get a little, well, a lot of our white, about double. We're gonna need more white, by the way. Double the white that we first grabbed, one little scrape of our blue that we had created, not the blue out of the tube, otherwise we're gonna end up with the same color. So you take the blue, the very, very, very light blue that we created, that sky blue, we mix it in with our titanium white, and then you can see how thick and dry that paint is. It's very heavy, very firm paints, okay? We're gonna do our shadows first. Let's pull down, 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 creating a little runway, okay? Now, I was showing this in one of my classes the other day, in my virtual class, my group virtual class with Mackie and Dana. And if we pull down like this, sliding it down, we wipe off the blade, okay, so there's nothing there. And then you literally start on the outside of your paint pile and you go and cut through it, right? That's gonna leave a little roll of paint. Now, that little roll of paint is not going to go very far. It's going to disappear relatively quickly, right? So if we got maybe a couple little swipes, now we have a bigger roll of paint and we can deposit and let it run down much further than before. So again, even in the same pile, starting from the outside, cut across, cut across, cut across. Get that little roll out there, right? Your little roll might be bigger than someone else's little roll. Isn't it like that, guys? It's always like that, isn't it? Someone else's roll is always gonna be bigger, right? So, doesn't matter. Cut, cut, cut. Get your little roll out there. Attach, drag, right? We're not pushing. Even though it looks like I'm touching the blade, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not touching it because I don't want to put too much pressure on this blade tip out here. I don't want to have too much goop or too much smear, right? We're not Einstein bagels out here. We're not painting schmear. We're painting some broken, soft, snowy bits. Just goes to show that no matter what you do, Josh can teach you. Right, we're gonna pull down on this guy. And then what do? Do we start in the middle and scrape, or do we start on the outside of the pile and then scrape across? I just taught you. So what do? You tell me now, because I forgot. What do we do? Remember, you can get this painting if you go to paintwithjosh.com and then search for number 1878. That's this painting right here. For whatever reason, it wouldn't allow me to do it earlier on or put it on the homepage, or maybe I did, I can't even remember. I was so stressed at the beginning of the show because I was trying to get it on the homepage and Shopify was being a butt. Just being a bud. Do we start on the outside? Outside, exactly. Start on the outside of the pile, and we pull through the pile to get a little roll. And I know that's not enough, so I'm going to get a couple of them. We're going to come up here and deposit and very lightly just graze across. See how the accent disappeared? Just graze across the canvas. Maybe just down in there, very lightly touching, having it deposit, right? Not trying to mush it, trying not to touch the canvas, just trying to float over it, right? Now we're going to go over here into our titanium white pile. We're going to start out on the end, full pressure, grab it across. Again, out on the end, go through another time. 2 scoops. we're at an ice cream shop out here. Double scoops. We're going to come up, we're going to touch, we're just going to drag down. Whatever falls off, falls off. Start on the outside, cut through. Maybe over here, maybe we get a little taller, get a little more jaggedy. We go out into our shadows, right? Because you don't have to just follow along that line. You can make a little chicken foot. Look like a little chicken's foot. Look like a little chicken foot out into your shadows of your snowy side, your shadowy side. Again, outside of the pile, cut right through, got it on there. Let's say all this snow came down and hit, and then went and started to fall down. The more down our mountain we go, the more horizontal swipes, right? We're not coming down, we're not going at an angle, we're getting down here and swiping it horizontally. That way, again, load the knife, right there, cut right through it. Attach, graze, graze. Don't push, just float it, right? Sometimes it takes a couple times to get it. Sometimes it happens too much on the very first go. That's all about the 3 P's of paint with Josh. Now, does anybody know? Right at the end, just can't remember. Honestly, just can't remember what happened. Oh yeah, paint pressure practice, exactly. The 3 P's of paint with Josh, right? We always talk about them, and then we always forget while we're talking about them that we're talking about them. So the 3 P's of paint with Josh. The amount of paint on our tool. Sometimes it's enough. Sometimes it's too much. Sometimes it's not, right? All up to us and how we see it. If you ever go over a dark area like this, you're like, ooh, I want a projection right there. Bang, project. Just go back in with your shadowy color right underneath him and just toss in just a little bit. It'll help, trust me. It will help. Okay? Now, everything that's along the bottom of our mountains, we stop caring about, right? We only care about this area right here. As we get out towards this area, we're not going to care so much because we're going to ruin all of that purposely. We're going to purposely come back and ruin it. Now watch this. What if we project it up through these shadows? Straight down. Bang, bang. Over there, all of a sudden, we have another little projection. A little project. Again, all up to us. How many times do you want to do it? How many times have you done it? You gotta have a little shadowy bit in between, and watch. If you didn't like this one, you just go straight across it. Just literally take it out of there. Whatever you wanna do, you guys. I don't say it for my health. I don't say it to be fun. Like, it's literally whatever you want, you can do. And I'm proving it to you right here and now. So, if you thought that was cool, or if you think that's a really neat mountain, just hit that share button for me, just one time. Or copy the link and go post it somewhere if you're watching over on YouTube. Man, that's cool. Okay, now let's get out here, right, with our our hog hair bristle. This is the Bob Ross brush. Come on, it's only because it's dirty that we're using it. Out here very lightly, again, grazing against the canvas. We're not trying to brush it. We're not trying to move the paint. We're just trying to hit it with literally 3 hairs and some air, like Bob always said. Yeah, literally, smallest little bit, okay? So, get up here very lightly. Now, on our blue side of our snow, which is going down a different direction, should we continue going this way, or should we rotate our brush and go up that way in the blue area? What do you think? Continue or rotate? That's all I gotta ask. Continue or rotate? Rotate, says Big Daddy. If Big Daddy says it, it must be true. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Brian, Ramirez, Jen, the JoJo, Michelle, Ebony, Levi, Terry, Chelsea, rotate. Everybody's correct. You guys are all correct, man. H218, Cosmic Lighthouse. Over here, we cannot drag through all of those things, so we come from the other side very lightly. Same thing in here, very soft little touch. Ooh, so soft. It's like you're trying to graze a sleeping baby's face. Like, is it still breathing? Okay, it's cool. That soft, okay, very, very, very soft. Then we go from that wicked soft touch to full pressure, full pressure, full pressure. Bang, 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 bang. Tapping these things outwards. Get to the chopper. Just tap it out because you want to make this misty fog. And by tapping it, tap, 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 tap. We're making more land. It's just harder to see what's going on in that land. Okay, same thing out here. Tap, 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 get away. Tap, 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 further away. Further away, but full press. The canvas is moving and shaking. If the canvas is a rockin', don't come a knockin', is what they say, right? So, I think that's for something else. But either way, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. Bing, bang, boom, you guys. All of a sudden, you got this floating mountain in the night. In the night. Let me see if my Shopify is looking any easier. Hang on. I might be able to make this easier to find if it's now working correctly. Because it was being a big pain in the butt earlier. It's like I was trying to put the thing on the homepage, and it's like you have no items. I was like, I for sure do. I know I do. Let's see. So while we're doing that, you guys just check in. Tell me where you're watching from. Let's see, and then we're gonna try to get this thing rocking and rolling. Whatever reason, I don't know what it is. I guess I'll have to just figure this one out later, and hopefully they'll find a new home or whatever. Okay. In any case, very cool. Very cool. That's weird. They must be having an issue with their site because it's never been that weird before. Okay. In any case, let's start. Let's continue. Okay. We're gonna come out here, we're gonna take this very dark pile of paint, we're gonna mix it in with a little bit more of our plaque pile. So it's not pure plaque mix as of right now. And let's throw in some faraway background forest. Have you ever seen how to do that? Because I'm gonna show you right here and now. I will show thee here and now. And since I don't have my Paint with Josh fan brush, which is my favorite fan brush to use, I left it up in Selah, Washington. It's being mailed back to me right now. But I'm gonna use the Paint with Bram fan brush because it's the next best thing, the next closest thing to a Paint with Josh fan brush is the Paint with Bram fan brush. So we're gonna get out here, we're gonna make a little triangle, almost like a little pyramid shape, right? Make a pyramid shape, you go back, you get some more paint, you come back over here, and you make a little taller one. And what I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? But we're kind of higher in the center, and then we fade off on either side. Depending on how you paint yours, it can be bigger, it can be taller, it can be thicker, it can be crazier. We're gonna get higher and higher and higher as we come up on this side. Using that slightly darker pile of paint, but not the full Paint with Josh plaque mix. All right, grab that guy out there. Oh, this is very much looking like my very first painting I ever did. Oh, just better. Just better, of course. Let's bring it down. Watch, we gotta dip down beneath that white snow. Right, that white snow up there is going to make it so our forest turns brighter in color, which is not what we want to happen. We don't want that stuff to happen. Let's get out here, pop in a couple little bits, and just kind of tapping at it with a downward angle. Make it a little fatter, let it fade off. Let it fade off on that side. Now we need to have enough paint down here in order to grip it with our brush. So at least have a little room, a little bit, right? So from the bottom, maybe 1, 2, 3 little taps of paint down there. Because we're gonna come back in with our bigger brush and again, pull it up, pull it up, pull it up. Zip, zap, zoop. Very lightly, okay? Now, we've gotta come in here and again, hit it almost hard enough to have it disappear. See that? and you can just blend it away and have it go away. So we're tapping it down, tapping it down. Maybe we come up here, come up a little higher, maybe we get down a little lower, but all we're doing is tapping down the darkness into the bright color, bringing the bright color back up there to make our misty fog. Now, it cannot look just like a straight line across, which is why I'll go down, go up, go down, go up, down, up, over here, like a little heart monitor all the way through. So even though it looks like we're doing it at random, it is absolutely not a random thing. We're tapping it down, then going up, picking our next spot, tapping it down, picking the next spot, tapping it down, making sure that it's not just a straight across thing. Now, with all this excess paint, plus all this white brightness that we have down here at the base, right, you can mix it all up into a little cloudy bit of misty fogginess right at the back of your old forest. Pull it down, down, down. Amazing. Just literally amazing, right? We do whatever we want in order to make it look however we want. And it's so much fun, you guys. What I am gonna do though, is because some of those with that Paint with Brand brush, they're just not as sharp as I like. So with this brand new Paint with Josh fan brush, there, you see the sharp difference on the tip tops of those trees? Just with the Paint with Josh fan brush, what that will do. So if you guys want to get your Paint with Josh fan brushes, you can go to my website, paintwithjosh.com. They come in the Paint with Josh kit, so of course you got to get the whole kit in order to get the brushes, but they're highly worth it, right? They're more for fine details, they're very sharp. You can make very sharp things with the Paint with Josh fan brushes, 1-inch brushes, and all the Paint with Josh materials are awesome at making those things. Now, in order to have any amount of depth, right, you have to have that misty fogginess down there. Mix it up where we can't really tell. Sometimes we get up there and almost make a whole tree disappear. Just so you have that mist there. Right? How tall. And you remember, we put a good amount of paint down here, but we can only really focus on the top section of our trees. That's going to help us, you guys. Now, let's come back in here. We're going to take it over like this. Mix up our black mix. Drop in a bit of black, a little bit more crimson, a little bit more of the blue. Make up a whole new dark pile of paint right in here. Mix it up, flip it over, flatten it out, mix it up again, flip it over, flatten it out. Now we're gonna come back in and we'll use the Paint with Josh fan brush this time. I didn't want to get this one so dirty, which is why I didn't want to do this. It was pretty much brand new, but we're gonna use it at some point anyway. And you can see we're pulling down enough paint to bend the bristles, to fill the sections in between, right? Now, let's come out here. I like it. Let's start out here like this. Ooh, yep, we're gonna be a little taller, so we're gonna pop down, and then next to it, and then next to it on its other side, and then next to it, and then next to it, it's on its other side, right? Making a little triangle shape is all we're doing, or a pyramidal shape. And you just fill it in those gaps. That's it, right? It's literally it. Wiggle it down, let's drop below that snow, and then come back up, and then get down into this mist. Right? If we pop down into that misty section, where now maybe we got a bit of a tree here, or a tree there that's sticking up and kind of into that misty area. Remembering to dark out the bottom. And remember, get your Paint with Josh brushes over on paintwithjosh.com or craftammo.com. They have them over there as well. If you go to Craft Ammo's website, then you have to type in, search for the Paint with Josh brushes. If you go to my website, they'll be right down there. You just got to scroll down a little bit. They'll be down there. Popping in our forest, going back and getting more paint, right? It's all about the 3 Ps, which we talked about earlier. The amount of paint on the brush. The amount of pressure that we're pushing on these paints, right? And then what's that last P? Does anybody know? Do you know it and you just never commented before? Tell me now. What's that last P of Paint with Josh? I mean, we could even go, you don't have to go this far, or you could. You can. Right? As long as you stay into that mist. It's pretty much the same color, but that mist gives us that background feel, that farther away distance. Yeah. Alright, all we're trying to do is make it weird, make it different, because nothing out there is ever all the same. And just fill it in at the base. You can turn your brush on the side like this. Fill it in at the base. just so you have enough that you can make some more mist with, right? So what do? We come back with our 2-inch brush. We very lightly, because there's a lot of paint out here. We don't want to drag it up through our mountains, right? So very lightly dragging it. Just basically flattening down the texture just a little bit, right? Filling in all of its gaps. And then again, you come back in here. And you could do this over and over again, you guys, literally. Making a new section of forest every time, getting closer and closer and closer. And a little bit darker, a little bit darker. Right? We are in control, my friends. It's all up to us out there in the night. Fabulous. Just fabulous. Literally, full pressure. Full crazy pressure. Get in here, let's knock some of this paint off our brush. Haven't even used a 1-inch brush for this painting yet. Knock that paint off, get up there, mix it, right? Counterclockwise circles. At least that's what I do, because they're the easier one to do for me, right? It's the counterclockwise one. Now, really mix this stuff flat. Let's see if we can pop out an old cabin in here somewhere. Just an old guy living in the woods. That'd be me out there, living in the woods. Now, just by pulling horizontally sideways, you can already tell there's some land out there. We didn't really need to do anything except for drag our brush in a certain direction, right? If you're getting a lot of glare on your trees like that, just swipe there. Gorgeous. Fabulous, my friends. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Now, we're gonna go back in and decide where we're gonna have our land, what's gonna happen as we get closer into our foreground, right? Little misty craziness. I love that misty effect so much. Seriously. Now, what if we had an old cabin? What do you guys think? Should we do an old hunter's cabin out here? Just a shabby old, little old guy. Doesn't need to be big. Little old guy out there. Or should we work in some trees and maybe add like a fence? I mean, shoot, we could do both for real. Yes. Paintings are awesome, by the way. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yes, okay. You guys, you're feeling my vibe. I like it. Okay. Now, same paint, right? And because we've made this misty area in between these colors, it projects that distance, right? So, if we were, I hit this guy with my finger. There we go. If we were to try to keep some distance in here, we're gonna need to stay in that mist. We don't wanna go up too tall. So let's scrape out a little line, a little bit. Now I'm gonna show you. We're only, no matter what the shape of your blade is, we're only going to focus on this horizontal line right there, right? So if I want it to look like a little house, I don't need that much paint job. A little house, let's come out here like this, and let's pop down, okay, just like that. Do about 1.5 lengths on one side. Let's do one little, yeah, okay, let's do 2 lengths on this one side. So what I mean is 1, and then come up, match it, 2. Right, so we extended it. And then 1 on this side. Now your peak of your house plays a big role. Right? You want to have that little peak, but this tool is designed for that. You just match up your line, you turn it over and match up the line on the other side, however you want it. And we'll take a little bit, we're going to pop out a little roof. Now make sure that you go downward, please. Pop out a little sideways thing over there, okay? Just like that, just like we're making a little 3D house. Same thing over here. Now we know where we need to fill to, so we can get out here and pop it down like this. Push it down, turn our blade, everything else we take away, okay? Now you've got a little house. So these little guys, they're gonna be covered by a tree anyway. Literally, brush them away this way. All of a sudden you got your little house out there, just a little old shape, right? So we take our dark, put it horizontal, put it down. There. Yes, you don't really need to have too much darkness in there, because we're going to come back in with our titanium white that I don't have. Hang on. Hold, please. Got to get some white paint out here, guys. Now, where is the white? It's always at the very bottom of my bucket. For whatever reason, it wants to torture me this way and end up. I don't have white. Ah. My fault. It was right on the top of the bucket the whole time. It was just in a box. I was not expecting it to be in the box. My bad. So we're going to take our white. You guys are going to check in right now. Tell me where you're watching from. The more times you check in and comment, the more viewers will show up. Right? So it works the same on TikTok and on YouTube. The more you guys are commenting, the more people will arrive. Take a little bit of our white, pull it down. Right? Again, nothing really on the blade. We're going to come in here and go right across. So we've caught our little piece. You can come up here like this. Just deposit down. Right? We again get to decide what it looks like based off of our little angles and such. Just like that. And let it break off that little thing. And you get this cool little cabin out in the night. Pop out. Boom, boom, and I'm telling you, nothing is easier than doing a little cabin like that. Just little teeny little guy, right? Doesn't need to be too big. Let's take our darkness up underneath again. There. I always like to pull it out a bit further down than we need to. Okay, turn our blade. There we go. Match it, pull it, pull it. Pull this guy down farther too. Because we need something to grip and grab, right, with our brush. And I'm going to use the Paint with Josh 1-inch brush because we're getting into a small little guy here, right? So basically I'm going to grab it up top, higher than I need to. I'm going to work it down at this little check mark of an angle. Right? So higher, down to lower, okay? Then we're going to start up here, higher, down to lower. Where we meet at our little check mark space. Dragging this paint down, sliding it backwards. Pushing it up into the house, make our house look like it's just snowy. Just snowy. You can always pull it down too. If you don't want it to drag out so far, pull it down. Pull it down, flip it away. Now you got this little cabin out there in the night. If anything, that little drag of that darkness creates a little horizon now on the edge of our cabin. Small little guy. I love it. Okay, let's get back over here. I think we got just about enough paint to maybe do one tree. So let's come in here, wiggle down on that darkness. Let's say our little guy, maybe. Now you know what, let's highlight him first. I don't have any brown on this palette, so we're gonna grab some brown from back here. There, it's a little bit of our Van Dyke brown, a little bit of our dark sienna, and then I'm gonna mix a tiny touch of our titanium white into it. Put it over here. There, that's gorgeous right there. We don't want to have it be too bright. And then if you can leave a couple streaks and stripes in between, that's gonna play good for us. Let's take this guy, scoop up a fair amount, and this is when you want to push too hard. This is okay. This is the time where it's okay to push too hard, because we want to give it the effect of wood planks, which are flat, right? They're not broken. I mean, some of them are, but push it down. That way you get that wood feel to your cabin. And if anything, under the smaller brush, there. Pull this guy out that way, back off that way. You got yourself a little building out there in the night. But you can see this little check mark. Check, check. Right? If yours comes down and then back up slightly, it's going to look more 3D than anything you've ever done in your life. The more white that you add up there like that, the more little snowy bits we get to have. So we get to decide. That's the whole point of it. We're always in control. Let's come back in here. And let's take a little guy a little higher up. Not too far away from our cabin, because we kind of want him to touch against this backside over here. The more we go down, starting with the corner of the brush and then pushing in, the more branch-like your guys will become. Lighter and lighter and lighter touch as you go up that side. Right? That's a big old monster tree for the size of that cabin right there, don't you think? Oh, don't you know? Don't you know that's a big old cabin there? We put a little bit of our brown on our brush, just a small amount. That guy there. Like it, just having a little bit of that snowy feel, that's touch in there. Gorgeous. Take our tree, again, down at an angle, up at an angle. Let's go a little more 3D and pull that guy off and have a little shadowy area, or vice versa, drag from the edge and drag that light color that's there back towards it. We are in control, guys. Now let's get over here, let's highlight that little guy. Anytime we're doing winter trees, they are my most absolute favorite tree to highlight as a winter tree. We're going to take our liquid white, we're going to take some of our phthalo blue or Prussian blue or ultramarine blue, and we want it to be wet enough. Right, so we need a little bit more of our blue there. There. Okay, we have to put our blue off of the backside, just like our mountain. So what I'm doing is coming up and smacking it, smacking it, smacking it. And then we're gonna start to go side to side, side to side, side to side, side to side, right? Looks like total butt until you do it enough times and not cover up enough spaces and leave some of that darkness in there so that you can come back. And when you do come back, and you got your liquid white on your titanium white over here, and you're mixing them together so they're kind of wettish, and you pop this guy off the side. And then you start the same thing on this side, little light colored bits, right? Over there, over here. Leaving spaces in between, because not every place can be so brightly covered, but doesn't that look like a little Christmas tree out there? Isn't it just a little happiest little pine tree you ever did seen out there? He's gorgeous, right? Little blue, little white, create a tree. Isn't that cool? I think so. There. Like it now. Okay. Now, let's go in. We're going to grab some bigger stuff that's happening out here. And in order to do that, we need to take our very flattened pile of paint, and you can actually see that's a good amount right there. We can actually make a few more trees as we get closer to us. Right? So we'll wiggle down, wiggle down, wiggle down. Let's say we come over here, we go a little bit taller than this guy if we want him to look like he's closer. Bang, and a little bit farther down, right? So taller up, farther down. It's gonna make him look like he's closer than all the rest of the stuff back there. Just like so, right? We get to decide. Let's come over here. Again, small taps, small taps, small taps. Now we're pushing. We don't want to push in one spot too many times. Otherwise we flatten all that texture up there. Right? We gotta have these crazy texturous trees. Otherwise they won't stand out as being close. Right? Then we drop a little section. Leave a little empty spot in there. Whoop, bink. I love doing those. Those are the coolest. Pop this guy down here. There's a whole other little empty branchy area back in there. If you don't like it, you go back into the center and fill it in. That's literally it. Right? You're in control of what it is. Do you want to have a tree trunk or do you not want to have a tree trunk? Again, up to you. So, take that guy. I like that little tree trunk right there. What if we pulled him off this way? Pulled him off that way. A little deal. He's gorgeous. Even looks like there's a little shadow underneath him like that, right? Fabulous, my friends. Let's go back and highlight that guy. Take a little touch of our liquid white into our Prussian blue, phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, whatever it is. You just have to make it be wetter than the blue or the dark paint that's up there. And then come back and tap. Making little Z shapes, little things here and there and everywhere. And we go down and we jump because we got an area of open spot. And we're tapping out here and tapping over there. And not trying to cover everything. That's it, right? If we cover everything, then we know we're going to have no depth in our tree. And if we have no depth in our tree, then we're going to just have a flat old tree. Let's come out here with our liquid white into the titanium white. Right? You want to make sure it's wetter, not whiter, but wetter. Again, the lightest touch, even over all that thick, heavy mountain snow. If your paint is light enough and wet enough, and we're leaving enough spaces in between them, right? Then it's going to look like a little pine tree. Bang, bang, bang. Look at the, all those little things, all those little spaces. That one dark area that's right there needs a smack. But just one smack. If we do too many little schmackies on the mackies, then it's just not going to work. Hey, guys, is it not the coolest thing you've ever seen? Bob always told us a thin paint would stick to a thick paint. So if we've got our thick paint out here, and then we come back in with a very thin, wet paint, it's going to attach onto that paint easier. And you see, my gap looks a little funky because there's that dark bit of forest in the back right there too. But check this out. We'll take a little bit of that blue, pop in a little bit of our trunk on that side and on this side, just by tapping it against it. Come back in a little bit of our white. Bang. Doesn't need to match perfectly. Doesn't have to be all white or vice versa, all dark. You know what I mean? We're in control. You can come up in here like this, maybe, and just give it one more little bushery bit. Come back and tap on. Just like that, right? We're in control, guys. You can change it every time that you want to change it. You can do something different. You can try something here. You can put something there. You can use more blue on this side. Give it more of a little shadowy feel. It's up to us, my friends, guys and gals, kings and pals. There we go. A little bit darker blue. Give it more of a rounded feel. Okay? Again, how do we want it to be? All up to us. There we go. Okay. Now, let's get into the frontals out here. Let's say our one little cabin, maybe, just maybe, had a little door, maybe got a little tiny window too on that one side. Just a little old guy. We're gonna come back in with our dark color, that black mix, fill it in. Nobody's home at this little cabin out here. You can go in there and hide from the storm, man. I'm telling ya. Touch. We can get that guy. There we go. Just have a little pathway, like it's something. Just something leading up to it. Very cool, guys. Now, why not? Yeah, we can do it over there too. Okay, let's mix up a little bit more of our plaque mix. And then I'm gonna need you guys to start coming up with a title for this painting. We've been going for about an hour, and it's looking a little bit fantastic. So, if you can help me out, please do so by coming up with a title for this painting. Right? If your title is the bestest title out there, then maybe we choose it as the title for the painting forever, right? Or if someone purchases this painting, then they can choose the title and what they want it to be called. I like that lone, just tree branch sticking, or the trunk sticking out there. Yeah, okay, we'll do this guy over here. A little bit taller, right there, all the way from the top to the bottom. Josh, what are you doing, man? Come in here, tap on little bits, little bits, little bits. Get a little bigger, drop down, a little bit taller, get a little bit bigger, get a little bit more spread out, however you want it to be. All right, then we drop back in, come back out, come back in, then come back out. That's all we ever do when we're making these guys anyway. You're mushing and pushing on all the dark paint, right? You gotta have that darkness. If we don't have the darkness, then nothing is going to stand out as being closer if it's not dark, which is why we go back to the ultra dark, the plaque mix that we created. Throw out a big old shadow out there. Of course, it's got to get bigger on both sides. Doesn't have to go all the way down to the bottom again. Just like that. Get yourself a wicked old tree out there. In the day. In the nightly day. Let's even go. Let's bring it. Well, screw it. This one's going to have a bunch of bushes down in front of him anyway, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like. Okay, let's come out here. We're going to get our liquid white. Grab our blue. That's what I always try to say, too. You never have to paint the entire portion of everything, right? We didn't paint the entire mountain over to this side because I knew all this stuff was going to be in the way. So we didn't have to paint the entire mountain. Let's get that liquidy wet or liquid white paint into our ultramarine blue or phthalo blue or Prussian blue or whatever blue that you want or that you like to use. Get out there and we'll start smacking it and tapping very lightly against the sides of the canvas. Over there, whatever comes off will come off, and then you need to move. You need to get away from that space. If it's still, if you're tapping and tapping and tapping over the same area and over the same area and same area and same area all the time, you're just going to dull down those highlights. Right? So if we get over here and we start mixing it up, we get out and we hit an area, and maybe you drop off a bit of paint, or you drop off too much paint, or you don't drop off enough paint at all. Move, get out of there. Don't stay in that space and just continue to bash it, because that's just going to hurt the painting more. It's going to make it harder and more difficult to do if you're just out there over mushing on all these little dudes, right? You just need a few. They're supposed to look odd and different and weird, and that's going to make them look more natural. But the main secret is you don't want to overdo it. And you want this paint to be wet, dude, like really, like soppy and just there. Oh, there, right there, right? Now, when we're doing this, the shape of your branch depends on how much paint climbs up your brush. So if we get out here and we tap, come off the side, the more that we smack against the canvas, meaning more pressure that we hit against it, right, the more the paint is going to climb up the brush. And whatever's on the edge of the brush, or on the sides of the brush, is going to be what's making our shape. Right? So sometimes it's nice to have that paint all the way up your brush so you can get up there and smack it hard enough to hit all the way up there. Right? Filling these guys towards the interior because they don't need to be so bright. And I'm going to go wipe off my brush, wash it off, then back into my liquid white, back into my titanium white, that same wet pile down there. You have to have some titanium white, otherwise it's too wet. Right? If you just have the liquid white, it's just too wet to work. So you gotta have that titanium white to help bind it together. Oh, that's a cool little tree right there. That's a cute looking tree. And then wherever it's too dark, I always try to tap it in a little bit. But that's pretty much it, guys. Then we can take the remainder of all that dark paint, since we didn't finish the bottom of our tree, and we can come down here and really make these crazy, just bushy themes. Just filling it all in, making it so it looks like our tree is done grown up out of these bushes. Somebody dropped a seed over here a long time ago, and it's grown out of these bushes. Now, you can always have a little bit of land down here at the base of your tree or your bush or whatever. It doesn't just have to fall off the canvas. And in fact, I never like them to really fall off the canvas. It doesn't look real to me. So you gotta have a little bit of land under there. And then if it's very dark, because we have that ivory black today, it's very dark. So I need to come back in with my liquid white and titanium white. And drop it down. And just kind of blend that stuff together until I think it looks like snow. Brush it back up into the bushes and such. And you got yourself a really cool little painting just like that, guys, seriously. Right? You can always come back in and highlight these guys and then scrape in our little sticky twigs, little bushes and stuff. Now here's a big thing we figured out in one of our classes, two of our classes actually, where they didn't have enough liquid white and they weren't plunging it into their pile like this. This is the only time you're allowed to do this, is when you're doing your highlights, because you want the highlights to be wet and goopy, but you also want them to come off of your brush easily and not have to tap on too many times. That's the amount of paint. Right? And what had happened was, let me show you what the student was doing that I caught. Right? And they were going like this. They were taking their liquid white, not enough of it, and they were getting down here into their very thin pile. That's not going to work. That's not going to have enough texture, right? So you take your liquid white and you plunge it up into the heavy paint, and that gives you sort of wetter, heavy paint. So then you can come in here, tapping on little places. Not everywhere needs to all be the same, but little bits of brightness and stuff. And sometimes one little punch like that works perfectly. Get back in here, scrape in these little sticks and twigs and stuff from our darker areas. Just little things that are holding up our bushes and such. It's very simple. Super easy little painting. You can even get out here like this. Scrape in a couple kind of growing around them, little pieces of grass or something. Little frozen bits of grass in the night. I like this one, you guys. I like it. So, come up with an idea. What are we going to call this little guy out here? You tell me what to name it. And especially if you purchase the painting, then you really get to tell me what we're going to call it, right? Because it becomes yours forever. Very cool. Ooh, it's wicked. I like it, I like it, I like it. I like it. Frozen in Time. That's a cool title. We could do something else up here too. This just seems like it's missing something right there. And if that's the case, we're gonna need some more of our dark mix. Mix this guy up. Throw it down. There we go. Yes, maybe we'll do one big old tree right here at the end. Just to see. Just to see it. Okay, and get all that dark paint. We're gonna grab our big old brush. And here we go, you guys. Oh man. Here we go. Right down through it. Oh, crazy old guy. There. Right down there. From the whole top of the canvas. down through. There we go. It doesn't have to be straight, right? You can give it a little hump and a little bump on the outside if you wanted to, but make sure it's thick enough that it makes sense why it's so tall, right? If it's thick enough, we got a little bump right there too. Bink, just wherever, going out there. Bang, bang, right? Big old monster of a tree branch. Now let's go back in here. We're gonna get our odorless mineral spirits into our plaque mix, and you need about 4, 5, 6 drips of it because it's very runny. We want it to be like water. As if it's like water, it will deposit. Come off. Bink. Little things here, there. Branch off to the side over there. Wherever you may grow. Bink. Just like that. If you have little places or little things, like especially right here, you cut in front, bang, up into that tree, bounce it around. These cool little bits of stuff. Boo! Now as far as you want. It just helps project your distance, all that. Maybe this guy, straight out like that. Very cool little branchy little tree, my friends. And again, it's all up to you. How many times have you done a little branchy tree like this? It's all gonna help, I'm telling you. Okay, let's take now, since this is a limited palette painting, but we do have that brown. Why don't we take our brown, come back here, throw this brown on our shadow side of our tree, okay? So basically by scooping up an entire amount of it, and then, we're gonna have a big old bush down here, just kind of tapping and letting it stick. That's going to give us a lot of barky, textury feel, right? For our next layer, that's a little bit of skin right there. For our next layer to stick to, we need to have this chunkiness, this chunk in the bark, like the texture, the finger bits, all the stuff, right? That indicates that it is the closest thing, or very close to us anyway, because we can see all of this crazy bark, all this chunky, nasty paint. It's a big old bit of skin too. There we go. We want texture, but not skin. There. Big old big amount of paint on our branch. Now, you can probably see it under the right lighting. We're gonna get a little touch of our liquid white on our palette tool, a little bit of our blue, whatever's left over here. And we don't need to do too much, literally scooping it and just tapping a little line. Right, then let's go back and let's miss that line with another little line. Miss that line, a little tappy tap over here and over there and wherever. Because it doesn't need to be perfect. We're not trying to make this perfect thing. We want it to be imperfect because that's where its perfections come from. The imperfect bits are where we get the cool things to happen. Now let's get the liquid white and the titanium one. Pull it down. Now start tapping. If you can leave some spaces in between, and they don't all have to be perfect, leave some space in between them, you're going to start having some really cool looking bark out there in the day. Along its outside edge first, catching that light where we want it to catch. Way up there, tapping it down towards the center line, maybe going over the center line in some areas, maybe not attaching it everywhere, right? And getting this really cool, there, that blue up there. Very textured little tree up here, okay? And then again, you're in control of how bright, how dark, little branches, this, that, and the other. It's all up to us every time that we go to do it. Tap on something over there. Let's actually throw that white out here, like maybe it got caught on that end of the branch way out in the night. It looks like we got a spot up there too, so right there. I guess my gloves might have been hitting certain areas. There we go. But that's okay. It's forced us to make some cooler branches off of our tree to cover those areas where my gloves came down and hit. And I like it. Little happy accidents everywhere. On the tree trunk side of our shadowy blue, we have to always attach a little bit of blue out to those guys. Because if there was snow on the end, you would figure it would be shadowier snow back in here. There we go. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And if I want to, if my heart is content, I can then add my highlights onto my branches, wherever I want them to be. They don't have to be the full color of the branch, right? A highlight, by definition, is not the full branch. It's just a bit, a piece of the light, right? Never the full thing. So, just make it a piece of light and not too stinking bright, because if it's too bright, it doesn't make sense to our heads. It just won't make sense to the brain. Doesn't have to go all the way either. Remember that. Not every branch holds snow all the way out to the end. Blink. Gorgeous. I like it, guys. I like it. I like it. Okay, let's get our last bush in there. Right up here in the frontals. Again, wherever you want it to be. Around the side. As far as you want. Like a little pathway running through the night back here. Same thing. Start a little bit higher. Work yourself in. Get in there. There we go. You can leave that shadow on the one side. Doesn't have to be so uberly dark, though. There, right? We get to go back. We get to add stuff. We get to take stuff away. We get to do whatever we want to do every time we go to do a painting. Oh, isn't that cool? That is cool, guys. I like that, as they say. A little bit of our bluey paint. Let's toss it out here. Too crazy. Nothing too nuts. Now remember, you guys come up with a title. What are you going to call this one? And remember, if you do purchase it, you get to choose the title forever. And then you can let us know what you would like to call your own painting, but you got to get over there and get it. Like this. The few little bits. Oh, that's gorgeous. One last little touch of our little sticky twigs in here. There. Woo! I dig it. Okay, come up with a title, guys. I've got to wash off a ton of brushes and clean up my palette and do all that stuff. So, I'm going to give you guys a chance to figure it out. Title up this painting, whatever you think it should be called. And if we do choose, let's say nobody purchases the painting, right? Then I get to randomly choose from all the comments. So if you want your title read out, or possibly chosen by Paint with Josh, you better type it in now. You have to type it in now. Okay, there. There. Gorgeous. All right, let me finish washing these brushes off. Showing both of them. But in any case, you guys come up with a title. Let me know what we're going to call this painting. I like it. I like it. I just got a couple more to wash. Just a few more to wash, that's all. Just a couple. Oh, finally, Shopify's working now. Okay, so if you go to paintwithjosh.com, it's on the homepage right now, guys. It's there. Shopify has fixed itself, so it's up there. If you like it, head over and grab it, and then come back and tell us what you think. What do you want to name it, right? but it is up there on paintwithjosh.com. And we will put the birds in. That'll be that part at the end. That part at the end. There. Okay. This guy. That guy. This guy off. We have so many brushes to wash off. I'm gonna get some food, and if this painting sells during the live show, then I'll come back and do a second show. After I go eat some din din. And if not, then we'll just go have some dinner and then you guys don't get a second show. That's fine. That's fine. But if you want to be responsible for bringing Josh back for a second show so everybody can be all happy and start their weekends off good, then go grab this painting. We'll give you a shout out. You can title it. Plus you get a free spin on the spinny winny wheel that everybody loves, which is a gifting wheel that gives you back all sorts of free items. But in order to spin it, you gotta get this painting. You gotta get it, man. Okay. All right, one brush to go. One brush limit. That's all we got left, guys. And we'll go sign the painting with the famous Paint with Josh 3 birds, the triple bird signature. Brand new mall stick. Let's get rid of this. Let's go. Amazing. Flying through. Yes! That one came out really cool. I was gonna say, since we have a white painting, we'll sign it in black, but nope, there's no room. We're gonna have to sign it in white. Let's put it down here. This one is fantabulous, you guys. I'm surprised. Actually, I'm gonna take it out of the store. If no one gets this one, I'm for real taking it out because it's too good to let go at that price. And if you guys aren't jumping on it during this live show, then it will be mine forever. And if that's the case, let's make it really nice. Just real nice. Real nice. Texture's a bit out there. Yes! Yes! Ooh. It's just too stinking good to let go at that price. So, let's go take it out of the store. If nobody gets it, this one's coming out and staying in my own house for me. Misty Mountain Cabin. That's a cool one. That's a cool one, you guys. We could put a little chimney on there, too. We could do that. Right? Especially if it's a be-all or end-all, like I'll get it. I always love putting a little chimney on there, too. Just need a little bit of paint, and then maybe right back there. Just in one little chimney pot sticking out the top of his house. Fabulous. Too easy. Just too easy. Little stovepipe hat. Stove top pipe. Whatever it is. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yeah. So I'm gonna clean up. You guys keep coming up with some titles. And then if it doesn't get purchased, I'll come back and pick a random title. And then we'll see what happens. I'm gonna get out of here and go get some food. Get some food, man. Food. Food. Little house in the snow instead of Little House on the Prairie. I like that. I like that. Lots of practice, that's for sure. Same time next year. That's a cool painting too. Snowy Forest Ridge. Shivering Shanty, that's cool too. Frozen in Time, I like that. Arctic Solace over there on YouTube, that's cool. Cabin in the Woods, Leonard, I feel you, I feel you. Mountains Call of Peace. Wilderness Wonder, Echoes of Silence. I like that, let's call it that. Can you guys name that? Echoes of Silence. Wherever they just literally just said it just seconds before I said that. So, if you guys could pin that. Yeah, there we go. Echoes of Silence. Wicked awesome. Awesome title. Fix it to paint the top here with my finger. It's the easiest way to get in between your ears like that. Gorgeous. This one's number 1878. That's not the price. That's just the number of paintings that we've done in my extremely short career. 1878. And we're calling it what again? I forget. Echoes of Silence. Yeah, I'm an idiot. It's okay. I'm not a spellman. I'm a painter. What do you mean? Longshoreman, policeman, fireman, fisherman, spellman. Stop me when I'm getting one wrong. You can't, because I'm getting too many right. 6/4/2024. All going to go to paintwithjosh.com because it's the best place of all time, and you got to get over there. You just got to go check it out. So, you guys have been amazing. Everyone over on YouTube, I want to thank you for watching and hanging out with us, and I can't wait to see your versions of this painting, so please send it in. I'd love to see it. Facebook at Official Paint with Josh, or Instagram at Paint with Josh K. I love everybody over there on YouTube. And until I see you guys again tomorrow, take care. Have the rest of a good day, and blah, blah. Bye. That's cool.